So you searched up what's the best new Warlock build in Season 22. I believe there's no such thing as a best build in Destiny, because it depends on what you're doing and how you play. So here's my favorite new build in Season 22 for PvE that's viable in endgame. Check out the description of the video for the Destiny Item Manager link that you can use to help craft your build. Please like and subscribe, and watch the Twitch stream. Or not. Whatever. It's the new exotic gauntlets Briarbinds, which give Void Warlocks more powerful Void Souls or Void Buddies. As a reminder, to acquire unearned exotics, you can either do solo Lost Sectors for the slot that you need, or Vex Strike Forces, which are random public events that show up in the Vex Incursion Zone on Neomuna. This footage is from a Master Lost Sector, where the enemies are 20 power levels above me. In order to use these gauntlets, Void Warlocks will need to equip the aspect Child of the Old Gods. When you cast your Rift, you'll create a Void Soul. When you damage a target, that Void Soul will fly towards the target and weaken them. Without Briarbinds on, this Void Soul will stay next to the target for 10 seconds before disappearing. Briarbinds extends that timer to 15 seconds. Briarbinds will allow you to retrieve the Void Soul so that it can be redeployed again. While the Void Soul is draining a target, you'll be given grenade and melee energy while running a healing rift, or just health if you're running an empowering rift. I suggest running a healing rift because it leans into the strength of the build, which is ability spam. You'll be getting your grenade and melee energy back constantly, with multiple Void Souls deployed for a longer period of time. Defeating a target who's drained by your Void Soul gives you class ability energy, allowing you to deploy another Void Soul. With Briarbinds on, you'll need to make sure you don't have a Void Soul waiting for you to target an enemy when you rift, because you won't get an additional Void Soul. So target an enemy first, watch the Void Soul fly towards the target, then cast your Rift. This will let you chain up to 4 Void Souls. In order to extend the life of a Void Soul past 15 seconds, you'll need to juggle the Void Soul, which means interacting with it, or retrieving it, and then retargeting an enemy to refresh its 15-second timer. This has the potential to weaken and debuff the majority of the battlefield, so anything that dies gets your grenade, melee, and class ability back. It takes some practice getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly satisfying seeing multiple Void Souls working together, watching your cooldowns fly, and seeing tons of orbs and void breaches get spawned. Briarbinds also give your Void Souls escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets. In terms of durability, I've never seen a Void Soul destroyed in PvE, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. The damage a Void Soul does is pretty small. I believe the escalating damage doubles the damage output, which can be impactful if you have multiple Void Souls up, but it's still not as much as a grenade. The benefit here is that you're able to ability spam, weaken targets, and slow them. So what other aspect do you use with Child of the Old Gods and Briarbinds? Your options are Feed the Void or Chaos Accelerant. Chaos Accelerant is what I normally use without Briarbinds, because I almost always have on Controverse Holds, because it makes your Void Grenade so strong. With Briarbinds and Child of the Old Gods, I didn't feel like I was benefiting as much from Chaos Accelerant. I preferred Feed the Void for more dependable Devour. I think in normal PvE content, Chaos Accelerant probably pairs better with Child of the Old Gods, because it will make your grenade stronger. However, in in-game PvE, I feel like Feed the Void is better because it gives you a more dependable start of your Devour. In in-game PvE, you don't necessarily want to run out in front of enemies in order to pick up an orb or a void breach to start chaining Devour. Regardless of what other aspect you choose to go along with Child of the Old Gods, Devour is a must. So no matter what, I think Echo of Starvation must be used. This is where picking up a Void Breach or Orb of Power will give you Devour. In order to use Echo of Starvation, you'll need to be making breaches and Orbs of Power. Echo of Harvest will give you an orb and a breach whenever you defeat a weakened target. This also pairs well with Echo of Undermining, which gives your Void Grenades weaken as well. Everything you're doing is going to be weakening target, giving you orbs, giving you breaches, giving you Devour, giving you increased cooldowns. Because you can spam your grenade, I also found Echo of Instability to be strong. This gives your Void weapons volatile rounds after defeating targets with grenades. This is where shooting at a target debuffs them with volatile, so they'll explode when they take damage. I think if you master this build, you can probably drop Echo of Undermining. Your grenades won't need to weaken anything because your Void Souls will be weakening everything, giving you more discipline and the ability to use a different fragment. One of the most fun fragments is Echo of Expulsion. This causes enemies to explode when killed by Void abilities, and these explosions can chain, making it one of the most fun things about Void 3.0, not to mention effective. As a reminder, because you'll be running Devour, I don't believe an Empowering Rift is helpful, which seems counterintuitive, because Devour gives you healing. Why would you want a Healing Rift? It's because the Child of the Old Gods aspect will only give you grenade and melee energy back when a target target is being drained by your Void Soul if you're running a healing rift. It gives you health if you're running an empowering rift. And the strength of the build is in ability spam. I prefer Vortex Grenade on this build because Vortex sucks enemies into the center, which can be used to help keep enemies next to your Void Soul. For stats, I focused Resilience and Discipline. Discipline can be hard to get tier 10 with while using weakening grenades. It's also not a bad idea to focus Recovery because your class ability needs to be spammed. I never find the Void melee in PvE to be very effective, so my strength is low. For mods, I think it's absolutely necessary that you have firepower on. This will generate an orb whenever your grenade kills something. And because you'll be spamming so many grenades, I think bolstering debt on arms is also crucial because it'll give you class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. With so many grenades being spammed, Ashes to Assets is also important to get your super back, even if you have extremely low intellect. Like my build, running low intellect is actually highly intellectual. Because I'm running Echo of Instability to give my void weapons volatile, it's important to run void weapons. I don't think having volatile weapons is absolutely critical for the build, especially in in-game PvE, but in normal content, it's just fun to watch things explode. In in-game PvE, you usually have on Forbearance in the energy slot, which is an arc weapon. Again, it depends on the situation. The build can be molded and changed for what you need and for what you're doing. One of the issues I had with this build is a problem with Child of the Old Gods. In order to target an enemy so the Void Soul flies after it, you have to have the enemy alive after you shoot it. So using a high impact, low rate of fire weapon is actually counterintuitive because the enemy will sometimes die in normal PvE content before the Void Soul can be deployed. So it sits next to you and does nothing. So I found higher rate of fire, lower impact weapons like Funnel Web to be more effective. You shoot it once, stop, Void Soul flies out, and then you can start shooting again or casting your Rift to make another Void Soul. Also, as a reminder, you can have multiple buddies flying around you. A Void Soul, an Arc Soul, and No Time to Explain's buddy. Another mod that I think is critical to use is Bomber because it helps the ability spam. It synergizes with casting your Rift so you get your grenade back. So you can throw your grenade and proc Bolstering Debt, which gets your Rift back, along with the Void Soul draining targets to get your grenade back, and once targets are defeated, it gets your class ability back. I also ran Innervation and Insulation on my legs so that when I picked up an Orb of Power, which there were many, I would get my class ability and grenade back. For Season 22's artifact mods, you can be generating Void Orbs. However, sometimes these orbs will override your ability to pick up your Void Soul, which can be annoying, but you can just toss the Void Orb, blow stuff up, and then pick up your Void Soul. Also, Monochromatic Maestro and Elemental Embrace go well with the build. And that's it. Let me know what you thought of the build in the comments. I'm still trying to make my YouTube not suck. Almost 170 new subs since the last build video. Yay.